Welcome back.
Welcome back. Here we are, second episode.
Number 2.
We made it.
Hey, all right.
We made it.
Yeah, that's the thing is the first one was fun. I had a good time.
It was. We didn't know what to expect, but we knew
110 subscribers.
Are you kidding?
110 subscribers.
We thought it was just that one guy
I
sitting
thought
on
it
that
was
couch. He's got friends.
Apparently he called somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, 110 subscribers. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for
very appreciative.
having the interest in what we're doing here. So,
For sure.
like last time, I'm Gary.
I'm Ray.
Yep. And today, it's going to be a little different.
Yeah. Well, I thought today will be great let's give the viewers of what probate
You can
is.
say viewers now.
Oh, it was viewer, but let's give viewers.
Yeah.
Let's give them what probate is. A lot of people
Get into the details of probate.
I figured it'd be good if I'll go through a few questions, then let's go ahead and answer them, right?
Yeah.
So
hit me with them.
All right. With that said, can you start by explaining what probate real estate is and why it's a unique area of expertise?
Ooh. Well, first, probate. Probate just means someone passed away without a trust. That's all that means.
Right.
And probate's the legal procedure to distribute proceeds to the heirs of the deceased, the rightful heir.
So there's a lot of moving parts when you're doing probate real estate. I mean, you have a real estate license, you could do it, but maybe give an example of like.
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought that up.
The one we just did, who we talked to.
I'm glad you brought that up. We should have recorded this.
We just got 2 new probates.
We just locked down 2 new probate deals literally before we hit record on this podcast. We weren't sure if we should put like our live phone calls.
Well, eventually we will, because we want to show exactly how it goes.
We just have to find the right way to do it. You know, we want the person we're talking to know that we're recording them and that we're sharing this with now 110 viewers, not just the one guy on the couch.
I'm excited for that.
So we will have live calls that we're doing when we're talking to prospects. We will have those and we will share those with you. But one of the 2 that we picked up today was speaking, the administrator to be, was speaking with another realtor.
As they always all are.
Always.
Yep.
And she was saying that she gave it a valuation of $800,000, and she said we could rip up the carpets because
there's hardwood floors. It'll show better.
Yeah, we could paint them. We could paint them. And she was just talking all real estate stuff.
And granted, on regular real estate, that is something that's
what you do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
This is just a different,
I mean, I'm not saying that this woman, whoever this other realtor is
probably a great realtor.
She's probably a great agent, and she's just doing what a real good agent would do. You're trying to increase the value of the property.
Right.
So she gave her all these ideas of things to fix and things to do.
Let's put a plant over here. Let's do
Right. Hang a dream catcher over here by the breakfast nook.
Right.
But nevertheless, I explained to our client that this realtor's probably just a good real estate agent.
Yeah, she's talking to her.
Not necessarily somebody who understands all the nuances involved when you're selling a home that's going through probate. So I asked, was this other realtor asking about your upcoming court date? And did she ask you anything about your certified letters?
Well, and you gave, you explained it very detailed about the process, what happens, and she just was like, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, she could tell that we knew what we were talking about.
Well, she knew exactly like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then you gave an analogy. Well, like going to the gym.
Want me to give the analogy?
Yeah, why not?
So here's the analogy that I gave. This is the analogy that I gave our new client, this one new client. I said, you can go to the gym if you want to get in shape, and you can hire a fitness trainer.
Right.
And that fitness trainer can help you realize your goal.
Absolutely.
Right? But if you were going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you probably want to hire a mountain climbing expert.
It's an expertise.
To train you for that specific duty.
Yes, that hike.
That's it. Exactly. So that's what I explained to her. I said, we're like that mountain climbing expert who's going to help you get ready to climb Mountain Kilimanjaro.
Well, it is, because it is an expertise. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things they need to have, a lot of paperwork, and helping them navigate through that, which you've very detailed explained to her.
And it felt like she understood that she was talking to somebody different as opposed to who she was speaking with earlier.
Yeah.
And that it's a completely completely cut from a different cloth.
And that's what we want to go through on this episode, is just what is probate in itself, right? So with that being said, what are some key terms that agents or personal representatives should be familiar with when working with in probate real estate?
Okay, so when you first start talking to a potential probate prospect, here's the hot buttons that you want to mention so you identify yourself as a probate specialist without having to say, hey, I'm a probate expert, right?
Right.
So you want to ask about, are you aware of what the certified letters of administration, or, well, in her case, administration, it could be letters of administration or it could be letters of testamentary, same letters, what those letters do. So I explained to her that these certified letters, this is where the ball really gets rolling. Because once you receive these certified letters, you now have the legal authority to act as your father. That's who the deceased is in this case. It was a father who passed away. So now you'll have access to bank accounts. You'll have access to any creditor accounts, any debt accounts. You'll now be able to act as your father to start gaining access to these accounts. And you can sign a listing agreement, a purchase contract. You can sign the grant deed when it's time to transfer ownership over to a new buyer. With those certified letters, that's what they do. They give you the power to start doing things like that. You can monetize, you can convert any asset. Once you have those certified letters, you can convert any asset to its monetary equivalent. You just can't distribute the proceeds.
Gotcha.
And then I explained to her, because she has an attorney,
Right.
Your attorney is going to help you set up the estate bank account. And when we sell the home, all the proceeds will go into the estate bank account and sit there through the 4-month creditor period to pay off any looming debts or creditors that need to be paid. And then at the end, at final distribution, whatever proceeds are left over at that point, that will be distributed to the heirs.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense. Now, could you?
Well, there was a few other things that we had to mention also. I mentioned to her as well, I said, did this other agent talk to you about the disclosure exemptions that you receive when you're selling through probate? No, she didn't. Well, did she talk about the documents that are required, the probate-specific documents that are required that the title company is going to need in order to ensure the title and transfer title to the new owner? She said, no, she didn't. And I said, well, she's probably a good real estate agent, but it doesn't sound like she knows probate, because that's the first thing you have to talk about.
Right.
And unfortunately, this other agent didn't.
Well, and that's the key as you're talking to these states, right, through in probate. Just that alone, talking that terminology, already sets you apart, right?
She knew without me telling her.
Correct. She stayed on the phone. We got the appointment. We're going there Monday.
Yeah.
Right? We're going there to see it. So walk us through some of the crucial documents needed in probate real estate transactions.
Okay, so just like I said, just like I said. So once you get into escrow, let me back up. To get your listing signed, or if you're selling it off market, like that one we're gonna sell off market, to sign a purchase contract, she has to have her certified letters of administration. So she's the administrator because there was no will.
A will. Yep.
Still go through probate with a will. She would just have been the executor, and she would have received certified letters of testamentary. But she's the administrator. There's no will, so she's receiving certified letters of administration. Once she has those certified letters, which she'll receive on her court date, now she's legally authorized to sign our purchase contract for our investor.
Right.
All right. Those certified letters have to be delivered to the title company. They need an actual copy, not printed off the internet. Yep. You got to go to the courthouse, go to the clerk window, and actually purchase a copy of the certified letters stamped by the clerk and signed by the clerk.
Right.
And you take that, you can mail it to your title company, or you can hand deliver it to your title company. They need that. That's one. The next thing is when you're selling any asset in probate, anytime an action is taken against probate, a document is issued to all the other heirs, anyone who else has interest in the probate. And this document is called the Notice of Proposed Action.
NOPA.
NOPA.
Short.
That's our acronym. NOPA. 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 Notice of Proposed Action. And what the NOPA will do. So in our case, we're going to have our purchase contract for this property. We're going to have the certified letters sent to title. We're going to issue the notice of proposed action. Now, this client doesn't. This client does have an attorney.
Yes.
So what I'll do in this situation is once we have a ratified contract, I'll send that ratified contract to our client's attorney. I'll say, "Hey, attorney, whatever the name is, here's our ratified contract for the estate of whoever the estate is. Can you please prepare and issue the notice of proposed action?" And then what the attorney does is he takes all the details of our transaction, sales price, terms, all of that stuff, even our commission. Everything's disclosed in the notice of proposed action. And then that document is mailed to any of the other interested heirs. I don't mean interested like they have interest in what's going on. Anybody by law, by genealogy, who is involved as an heir in the probate, who's going to receive proceeds, will receive this notice of proposed action.
Right.
And then once they receive it, or actually once it's issued, once it's mailed, there's a 15-day timeline, a 15-day expiration date, basically.
Right.
Within those 15 days, if any of the heirs receive it and they're against it and they want to contest it, within those 15 days is where they have to take action to contest it.
Right.
They got to fill out the other side of the NOPA and send that back to the court or to the attorney, who's going to then file it with the court. And then everything stops and they have to go to court, they have to sit in front of a judge.
If somebody contests
If
it.
somebody contests.
If nobody contests it, we keep moving along.
If nobody contests it after the 15 days, we continue moving on with escrow. If one of the heirs intended on contesting, but maybe they thought about it on day 16, sorry, it's too late.
Right.
You got 15 days.
15 days.
Yes.
They have to do their due diligence.
So that's the second document. So it's certified letters, and it's a copy of the notice of proposed action. The notice of proposed action does not need to be signed and stamped by a clerk. You can just download that. Usually the attorney, if there's one that has been retained, will provide it. So those are the first two. The third is called the federal tax statement letter. Some attorneys will call it the comfort letter, same thing.
Right.
And that's just making sure, it's just stating that all the estate taxes are in order, there's nothing outstanding, and that there's no heirs contesting the sale.
Right.
Those three documents have to be in title in order for you to close escrow.
Right.
All right. So those are the three documents.
Okay. Awesome. You did mention limited and full authority. How do these levels impact the probate real estate sale?
Well, they affect my business tremendously because I won't even entertain limited authority. So here's the difference. You have two ways to probate in the state of California: limited authority and full authority. Limited authority means everything is scrutinized by the court. Everything. Commissions are scrutinized and they can be changed by the judge. The price of the home, you have to purchase the property within 90% of its appraised value. Whoever's purchasing the property has to put down a 10% deposit. And then even after all of that's been met, the property will go onto the court calendar for an overbid, which means if you're my buyer and we have a contract on this property, not only does it have to be approved by the court, not only do you have to pay 90% of the appraised value, not only do you have to bring a 10% deposit check, you have to wait 30, 60 days until that court date comes up. Now your money's tied up just to go to court to find 16 other guys just like you.
And that could happen.
It does happen.
It does, yep.
It does happen. And now you're in a bidding war, and usually it starts in like $5,000 increments. Could be $3,000, but usually they start at like $5,000 increments, and they just go around the horn, increasing the price until they get to the final guy who sticks with their price, and they get awarded the property. Now, if you find yourself working limited authority and you get your contract signed, before you leave court, get it signed by the judge. Get the order for probate signed. Then your deal can move forward. If you don't get it signed right there on the spot, you're going to have to wait for it to go into the stack of papers at the clerk's county's office, and it's going to have to, you're going to be waiting a couple of weeks at least before your order's signed. And you can't close without that being signed. All right. Then the other way is full authority. That's where I live. So full authority is night and day.
Right.
So there's no court overbid. there's no court I mean, I don't want to say there's no court supervision like it's the Wild West, right? It's not like that. It's just you don't have the court scrutinizing everything you want to do.
Right.
So with full authority, the estate can sell the property for any price that they agree upon, even if it's at an extreme discount.
Mm-hmm.
There's any deposit that you and your estate agree upon. It could be $1,000. All right.
Right.
So it just takes away all of the red tape from the court, and it gives the estate, it gives the administrator or the executor all the power to make decisions that they want to do that's best for the family.
Right.
All right. So some people say, well, limited authority is best because it makes sure that the property is getting 90% of its appraised value and this and that. And I get all of that. But what it really does for the estate is it narrows the buyer pool.
Right.
If the estate, like this one that we're going to on, well, we're going to both of them on Monday, and they both fall into this same category, neither one of these properties are market ready.
Right.
And I don't mean because
they're fixers.
They're fixers.
Yeah.
They need a lot of work done to them. They
Right.
The farther one we're traveling to probably isn't even going to be able to have a loan put on the property. Like no lending institution is going to loan on it, right? It has to be sold to an investor.
Right. And a lot of investors we do have that will buy these, right? And if it does go on the open market as a fixer, they're going to get market value anyway.
Right. Well, they're going to get market value of whatever an investor is going to pay.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly. So it's not like the estate's going to be losing money. And we always offer what the options are.
Yeah. Yeah. We can
Right.
tell our client that we're the far away one up in Sonoma County. We're going to tell her after we see the property on Monday that if she wants to fix it up and get top market value for it, we have our fix up program where we can front all the money to get the house dolled up and sell it for top market value. It comes with a fee though. So if you want to borrow $50,000 to fix up the property, you're going to probably end up paying 15 to 20% on top of that $50,000 just to maybe get an extra 75K, 80K,
Right.
maybe 100K. I mean, it's never,
Right.
you know how it is.
Yes.
You know how it is. You're not going to get dollar for dollar for what you put into the property.
Right.
So it could be more of a headache. And that's what our client said when we brought that opportunity to her. She doesn't want the headache of having to fix up the property. She just wants to be done with it. She's already identified another property that we're going to sell her in Redding.
Right.
She just wants to be done. She understands she might leave some money on the table, but she's still getting enough money to go and do what she wants to do,
Right.
get this behind her and just live her life.
Right. Okay.
So really at the end of the day, what you want to focus on is give options to the estate to better help them realize what's best for them.
Absolutely.
We don't want to push our investor on a client.
No. We lay out the option and it's up to them
Right.
to choose what they want to do.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Like what we did here.
And being very transparent with everything. And
Yeah, you
that's-
laid out all the options. Here's what we can do. We can go on the market as is. We can go on the market and fix it up. Or we can just sell it off market right now for cash. You'll get a good chunk of money. They'll take care of everything. You'll be able to move past this without any headaches or additional stress. And that's the option that resonated with her.
Well, it's listening. And in her situation, she wants that to be sold as is, to be able to stay there until she can find her replacement property in Redding. And that's the option
Right.
we laid out for her. And that's the one she wants to do.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So we'll go out there, we'll go see it, and we give our opinion on
Yeah,
what
she
value is.
asked us, well, what do you think the value will be? And I told her, I said, I wouldn't be doing my job if I just sat here on the phone talking to you, never seeing the house and gave you a
Right.
value.
Right.
I'm not an agent that just looks at Zillow and Redfin and give
Right.
you a number. For me to give you an actual professional price opinion, we got to see the house.
You got to go see it. You got to see where it's at, the condition of it. I mean, every angle obviously is going to affect the value one way or the other,
Yeah.
and that's what we're going to do Monday.
Yeah, and she was all for it. That's
was
why
all
we're
for it.
that's why we're going to be there Monday at noon.
Okay, awesome. Now, what does the probate timeline look like, and what are some key milestones?
Oh, good question. Okay. So it's about a 7 to 10 month process in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could go longer than that, right? But it's never shorter.
Right.
So once you file, depending on the county you're filing, it could take 30 days, 45 days. I've seen it as long as 90 days. San Bernardino they're just so bogged down. The poor clerks there. It's 90 days after you file before you get your first hearing. And so let's just start. Let me digress. So you file, or the client files, the estate files. Roughly 30 days later, they're going to have their first hearing is to approve them as either the administrator or the executor of the estate. That's within the first 30 to 60 days. That's when they receive their certified letter. So 30 days, 30, 45, 60 days in. Once they receive their certified letters, that also kicks off the next phase of probate process, which is called the 4-month creditor period. This is where any debts, outstanding debts or creditors, this is where they have to state their claim with the probate. So when final distribution is reached, they get the money that's owed to them. And within those 4 months, if a creditor misses that window, they miss the window. That's why there's the notice of publication when you first file. That's one of the reasons what that's there for, is to notify creditors and debtors that this person passed away. You're going to need to state the claim to get paid.
Right.
And then after the 4-month creditor period, you roll into what's called inventory and appraisal. This just makes an itemized list of all the assets that have monetary value associated with them, inventories all of it, and gives it a value. And then you have a sum value of what the whole estate is worth. That's a hearing you have to go to. The judge will look at everything, and then, okay, great, you're done. Now you've finished the second milestone. Final milestone will be final distribution. And that's where you go in front of the judge. Again, some people phone in or go by Zoom, and the judge will look at all the paperwork in your probate file. They'll look at the inventory and appraisal. They'll look at everything. Right. And as long as everything's in order, the judge will sign off on final distribution, and then the proceeds will be able to be distributed to the heir.
Right.
So that all happens in about 7 to 10 months. It could go a little bit longer depending upon, like, if a house is being sold and it's sitting on the market for a while and hasn't sold yet. That will kind of slow up that 7 to 10 month process. It can make it 12 months, right? If a property sells quick, they can push through probate, get done in 7 months, 8 months, 10 months, done.
Now, I know some of the estates have asked us, well, there is a mortgage on it. Do I have to pay it? Do we have to continue paying the mortgage?
It's always good to continue paying the mortgage.
Right.
Yeah, it's always good to continue paying the mortgage.
Because you still have a lender that obviously still needs their payment, so you have to continue that.
Yeah, and there's been some issues where our clients are paying the mortgage out of pocket because, mom, dad, grandma passed away, and they don't have access to their bank account. They don't have certified letters yet, so they're paying it out of their pocket. You'll be able to get the client will be able to get reimbursed for that at the end of probate at final distribution. They'll get their reimbursement, and then on top of that, whatever their proceeds are.
Okay. Why should real estate agents consider specializing in probate, and how can it add value to their business?
Well, I think you want to specialize in probate because, perfect example is if you're not specialized in probate and you go up against somebody like myself or Ray who is specialized in probate. Perfect example is the Sonoma property.
Right.
She was talking to another agent who does not specialize in probate.
From what it sounded like.
Well, I mean, there's signs all the time, right? So if she really specialized in probate, she would have been talking about the same things that I was talking about. She would have known that she can't move forward with the property whatsoever without knowing these other things first. And that conversation never happened. So because our client had that conversation with this other real estate agent before us, and then spoke with us today and heard us talk about the probate side of things, she understood that there is a difference.
Well, because we didn't even talk about the property. We talked about the process.
Right.
And that's where I think this, new client was basically saying, oh, well, okay, she felt these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking to her.
We weren't even talking about the home.
We weren't even talking about the house.
No.
We were talking about everything that needs to happen to be able to sell the house.
And then you go into that.
Then you get into selling the property. So we've already gotten past the initial stage of that. So Monday, after we see the property, the conversation turns all about real estate and what we need to do to help her realize her end goal, which is buying this property up and ready, and how how we are going to go about that next.
Right.
So it's a 2-step process. You got to deliver the goods on the probate stuff first, demonstrate your knowledge, gain their trust and their confidence that you're the right guy or gal. And then after that's been done, you move into the real estate stuff.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, in an overview, that's what we wanted to give the viewers.
Well, that's a 2-part question, wasn't it? What was the other part? Why is it a valuable niche? So, man, for me, probate's the most valuable niche.
That's all you've been doing.
Not only because it's all I've been doing for 20 years,
Right.
and I grew up in it, but it's because it's the only niche in real estate where no matter what's going on, you will always have a source of leads.
And this is nationwide.
Doesn't matter where you are watching this from, there's probate leads available to you regardless of what's going on. Doesn't matter what the market conditions are.
Right.
Doesn't matter what happens on Tuesday at the election, who's the next president. None of that affects the stream of probate leads. It stays consistent, and it really allows agents like us to have something that we can scale.
Yes.
Maybe you're brand new to probate. You just start off with your one county. And then as you get, you cut your teeth and you start to really get the hang of it, you expand to 2, 3 counties.
Right.
You can scale this business as big or as small as you want with the confidence knowing that the lead source is not going to dry up. Right?
Yeah, there's an abundance of leads.
There's an abundance. It's an abundance. It's a never-ending lead source you can count on.
Right. So
that's where I see the true value for real estate agents is having a lead source that you can count on. Right. That to me in our business, that's our lifeline. We got to have leads to work with.
That's right.
And if the leads start to trickle in, like when you were talking on the first podcast about short sales, right? There was a time when that was the hot thing. Like
that was.
There was just an abundance of short sales.
Abundance of short sales.
But then it dried up.
It dried up.
Right? So if you were a certified short sale specialist, well, what do you do now? You go get a probate certification.
That's right.
Which I'm going to touch on that.
Okay.
I'm not against probate certification. I'm not probate certified. My dad, who's the godfather of probate, wasn't probate certified. I'm not against it. I think it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a necessity.
Well, I think that's, I don't know the details in between how you get certified, but it's basically just a course and you get certified.
Yeah.
And you're really going to learn this business by just getting in and doing it and having the conversations. That's how you're going to get certified.
I mean, at the end of the day, having a certification is not a bad thing.
Right.
But it does not mean that you have the experience.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you've done deals.
Right.
I'm not against being certified as a probate specialist. Right. Going through a course. I'm not against that. And if you're a brand new agent or if you're brand new to probate, go and get certified. Right. That's not an issue whatsoever.
It gives a good base overview of what it is.
100%. Absolutely, without question.
Yeah.
But there's 2 parts to that. Get certified, but then hitch your wagon to somebody who has experience. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's the experience is what the client really wants.
Yep.
Great, you're certified. How many probates have you closed?
Right.
And that's something, let me just back up a second. That's something that I provide to people that I'm prospecting for, that I'm contacting.
Yeah.
I'll send them 10 questions to ask an agent to make sure that they are qualified to sell a home that's going through probate.
Right.
And that's one of the questions. How many probate deals did you sell last year, the last 12 months? Right. If you're brand new to probate and you have a probate certification, but you haven't closed any probate deals,
right.
And then they've been talking to me, who's not a probate certified agent, but I've closed hundreds of probates, they're going to feel more comfortable with me.
That's right.
So for you, if you are thinking of getting probate certified or you already are, good job. Kudos to you.
Absolutely.
You're on the right track.
Yeah.
But if you have no experience actually doing probate transactions, hitch your wagon to somebody who does, who has sold probate homes. That way you can bring your certification and your newly found knowledge and some experience with you. You're going to get deals.
Absolutely. And again, as we mentioned on the last episode, this is just another layer to your real estate business.
Right. Don't stop what you're doing.
Absolutely not. This is just another layer that, as you mentioned, is recession proof. There's abundance of it, and it's in every state, every county. You just have to get out there and go do it.
Yeah. And that's a great segue to our episode number 3, when we start talking about where to find probate lead, how to break down the paperwork that you're sourcing from the probate files, how to identify what information you need, what to do with it, what it means, some of the terminology.
Yep.
So good segue.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was a great overview.
Yeah.
Letting the viewers know of what a probate, what it is, how it works, the terminology, and looks like we're getting a few more viewers.
We got a few more
hit
viewers.
the like
Yep.
button.
Yeah,
You
hit that
wanna hear
like.
the ding.
If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe so
Yeah.
you can be notified when other episodes come out.
And reach out for any questions. Again, we are here basically doing this for the viewers to build this probate hero network. They're the hero.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
want to make sure to help them with their business.
We're building a collection of probate heroes.
That's right.
And that means you. We
Yeah,
want to
means
make
you.
you a probate hero.
Absolutely.
So that's
All right.
that's it for this episode. We
Yeah.
just wanted to kind of get into the overview of probate, talk about timelines and
Yeah.
a little bit of the terminology. And,
Yeah.
and when you guys get episode 3, we'll get into more of that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, until then, thank you for
Yeah.
watching. We appreciate it.
Oh, I will say, if you have any questions on the stuff we talked about today, pop it into the comments down below. And maybe on the next episode, we can jump into some of those questions and
Yes.
answer them for you.
Absolutely.
All right?
All right.
So, till next time, I'm
Till
Gary.
next time, I'm Ray.
See you guys.
See ya.